Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. That should be the next slogan for Rocket Lab once Neutron gets launched into space. Rocket Lab, of course, released their latest quarterly figures. A good quarter, in my opinion, good commentary on the call as well. We've got way more information, in my opinion, in the presentation. Peter also gave us some extra information during the call, so we're going to start with that. Right now, just a quick overview. The stock is up 13% on the day, on Friday, has a market cap of $2.66 billion. So again, still a small company. For me, it's still a small bet, but a bet that I am very well, or increasingly confident of it being successful in the long run. How big? I don't know. We know that SpaceX is worth $200 billion or so in the private market. Do I think Rocket Lab could be worth $200 billion in the future? I don't know. But even if it gets 50% of that, that's still quite a lot. To start your investment when a company is close to $2 billion and if it can reach $100 billion, I think you found something great. Now again, I don't know if it will reach $100 billion, but seeing that it's now quite a successful launch company, I know Rocket Lab is not a launch company as a whole, but right now, $2.66 billion, still very early days. Electron, I would say, is a success. Now let's see if the next step, Neutron, is going to be as successful as Electron. And then again, it's still early days, plenty of other things to talk about when we talk about Rocket Lab. So let's discuss all of that in this video. Of course, some comments from the call and the earnings report. Yes, I have a small position in Rocket Lab that I think I will start to increase bit by bit. So if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, we really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment with the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. So I first want to start with a couple of comments that Peter mentioned during the call. So first, the misconception that Rocket Lab is primarily a launch company. That's not the case. Rocket Lab is an end-to-end space company focused on providing comprehensive space solutions. There are three key areas. One is launch, providing reliable launch services through Electron and Neutron rockets in the future. Spacecraft, developing and delivering spacecraft components, software, and ground systems. And then the last one, data and services. That's the big part, I would say, leveraging launch and spacecraft capabilities to generate long-term recurring revenue through data and services. Their competitive advantage is owning both launch and spacecraft capabilities allows Rocket Lab to build and launch its own constellations efficiently. And the future focus will be building constellation to provide valuable data and services. So yes, it's still early days. Now, it's great to have a plan and a vision for the company for the long-term future, but execution here is key. So for this quarter, revenue came in at $106 million. That's the highest revenue quarter to date. That's a 15% increase quarter over quarter and 71% increase year over year. They've got a backlog of just over $1 billion, and revenue growth is driven by an increase in launches and significant growth in their space system business. As for the Electron billing, this is, I believe, the first time that they gave us this. So this year we collect the majority of cash long before liftoff, but only recognize the revenue at launch. So they already get more than 50% 6 months before the launch day. But as they say here, they only recognize the revenue at launch, which is great because before the launch, they can get the money in to develop new things, to work on other projects as well. Because of course, when they work on one thing, they're not just waiting, oh, that client has to pay, and if they don't pay, then we cannot work on that. No, that's why they've got multiple contracts, the money is flowing in, and they can work on multiple things at the same time. There have been 17 new Electron launches signed year to date, $141 million total contract value. They are the third most frequently launched rocket globally in 2024. Previously, that was the fourth. They have a 100% increase in launch rate from the second half of 2023 to the first half of 2024. Electron also now accounts for 64% of all non-SpaceX orbital US launches in 2024 so far, and in a year plagued by launch anomalies and delays across the industry, Electron continues to deliver trusted and reliable access to space. Electron has also reached 50 launches faster than any commercial developed rocket in history. Yes, even faster than Falcon 9. They tell us that they've got more than $720 million in contract value of satellites in development, production, and operations. So for the quarter, revenue increased 71% or $44.2 million year on year, driven by an increase of launches from 3 to 4, as well as significant growth in their space system business. Sequential revenue increase of 15% was driven by growth in their space system business, primarily driven by revenue from their MDA and SDA contracts, as we've just seen in the previous slide. Q2 gross margin was down slightly sequentially due to a weaker mix in space systems. Backlog, like I said, is just over $1 billion and just a 5% increase quarter over quarter. That was maybe, let's say, weak-ish. For me personally, maybe I was expecting a little bit more for that backlog to increase a little bit more, but they expect to recognize 44% of that backlog in the next 12 months. So that's approximately $470 million. Divide that by 4 quarters. That would mean $117 million or so per quarter. They're now at $106 million in Q2. But of course, we expect the company to grow and of course generate more and more revenue each and every year. Now for Q3, they expect revenue to be between $100 and $105 million. They expect space system revenue of between $79 to $84 million, and they currently anticipate launch service revenue of approximately $21 million. As for GAAP and non-GAAP gross margin, they expect GAAP gross margin in the range of 25 to 27% and non-GAAP between 30 and 32%. Operating expenses on a GAAP basis to be between $80 to $82 million, and adjusted EBITDA loss of $31 million to $33 million, and basic weighted average shares outstanding 498 million. They also announced a big milestone for a company, of course. So they completed the first hot fire of the Archimedes engine for Neutron rockets. They say here that the Archimedes performed well and ticked off several key test objectives, including reaching 102% power, anchoring the engine's design ahead of Neutron's first flight schedule for mid-2025, so probably still 12 months from today. Peter Beck here said, hot firing Archimedes is a major development milestone for Neutron, and our team has done it on an accelerated timeline. Taking a new stage combustion liquid rocket engine from clean sheet design to hot fire in just a couple of years is industry-leading stuff. We've been consistently impressed with the performance of Archimedes in test, including with this hot fire. So with this critical milestone completed, we move into production of flight engines confidently and begin to close out the qualification test campaign in parallel to really hone performance for launch next year. From the day we started designing Archimedes, we focused on delivering a flight engine rather than early stage prototype destined for multiple reworks and adjustments. So it's gratifying to see this strategy bear fruit. And of course, just so you know, everything that has to do with Neutron right now, it's burning money, let's say. It's burning their cash because they're developing something that still does not generate any dollars for the company. Of course, if successful, then of course they would be generating millions and millions, if not billions, in the future. But just so you know, right now, the company Electron is doing very well for them. Everything that they're investing, they're working on right now is of course focused on the what's next. Not everything, but most of it. And what's next is still yet to generate anything for the company. Once that stage is done, of course, you will see the fundamentals of the company from a financial standpoint being much better. And maybe by then the stock will go up way more. Of course, the company would be valued way more once we have that Neutron launch. If it's successful or not remains to be seen. But of course, when we have Neutron, then I don't really see how this company will still be a $2 or a $3 billion company. Even today with Electron alone, I don't think it should be a $3 billion company. Now, I agree, generating $400 million a year, you're not going to be a $10 billion company, right? That high multiple, I mean, we've seen high multiple companies, but it's not the company's choice. It's the stock market that will value that company at 10x sales, 20x sales, 50x sales. We've seen some crazy numbers out there, right? So for Rocket Lab, for me personally, it's very important to see that, well, the milestones are getting reached. Neutron is on path for the launch in mid-2025. Hopefully no delays, and then cross our fingers and hopefully that goes well. Right now, if we look at the stock, the graph, it does seem like $5.50 is a weird resistance point, right? We've seen that already in December of 2023 We've seen that in the last couple of weeks as well. It's very good to see the stock now rebound over the 200, the 50 and the 20-day moving average. Let's see if we can stay there, form a base, and then try and tackle, well, try and go back up to $7.50, which was not seen since July of 2023. But of course, all of that will eventually happen as long as the company continues to execute, as long as the company continues on their roadmap towards success, towards launch of Neutron, more launches for Electron, more contracts secured, etc., etc. It's a small position for me, but like I said, every single quarter, my confidence increases bit by bit. So that's about it for me in this video. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, share your thoughts down in the comment section below, and I see you all in the next one. Bye bye.